Boy, let me list all the things we're going to talk about today. Heartburn, autism. Kyle Drew is going to join me on the show. And then I want to touch on something. This is a health show. Fad versus popular diets. What's really the difference in those? And of course, where does the Kaufman diet fit into all of this? And then Jenny Herbachik, nurse Jenny Herbachik, is going to be talking about fluoride. Isn't that in our water? And bone cancer. And then opening today's show, you know, I have become friends with Dr. Mike Smith. He's a senior health scientist with Life Extension. We're going to talk about something called AMPK. Are you like this all day? Tired, feeling run down? AMPK and other products might be just the answer. All that and more on this great show called Know the Cause. Thank you for joining us. My name is Doug Kaufman. For the past 40 years, I've dedicated my life and even my career to finding the root cause of disease. Join me in a team of physicians, pharmacists, and scientists, and soon you too will know the cause. So I just get back from Vietnam. I'm taking a class at a local college, Santa Monica College out in Los Angeles, anatomy and physiology, a one-year course. It's noon, and I automatically, I'm 22 years old. I mean, I'm young. So many of us suffer from lack of this, lack of energy. Today, we've got a person I just love, Dr. Mike Smith from Life Extension, to talk with us about what's lacking when we lack energy. Dr. Smith, thank you for coming in and being with us and continuing our education. Yeah. I was 22. I was a young guy.
And what, most likely, what did you reach for? Caffeine, something. Nowadays, it's the energy shots.
Yeah.
Now, listen, I don't. There's nothing wrong with caffeine. There's nothing wrong with those things on occasion. We were just talking. I do my espresso. Right,
yeah,
I do the espresso shot.
Is that just a little shot?
Yeah, it's a little shot. I do a couple of them actually, and I like. So the problem is if I'm overusing those things, if it's chronic ingestion of these stimulants, it has the opposite effect. It may wake you up for that class, for the next 10 minutes, but it's going to crash you again. But I'm not even talking about that. I'm talking more long-term effects. Think about this. The stimulants are activating your brain. They're activating your heart. They're making cells work, right? And so those cells are starting to need energy. And over time, if you're not giving your body the right nutrients to make that energy, you actually deplete the cell's energy reserves. You actually can cause problems.
Dr. Smith, in our cell, we have a little nucleus, and then we have these mitochondria.
Yes, the powerhouses, right?
Right, and that's where they say we're void, we're lacking.
Yeah, so as when you were 21, 22 years old, you had tons of mitochondria, right?
Yeah.
We know that each decade of life, 20 to 30, 30 to 40, you lose 10, 15, maybe even 20% of your mitochondrial content. So by the time you're 60s, 70s, your heart cells, they don't have a lot of powerhouses. Your brain cells, they don't have a lot of the powerhouses. And so now energy production is going to be way down. So imagine when you're 50, 55, you've lost a lot of mitochondria, you're tired, and you take that energy shot. It may stimulate you for a second, but over time that's going to cause problems because it's going to demand that your cell makes energy. But if you don't have the mitochondria, how is that cell going to make that energy? It can actually damage the cell over time. So we don't want to rely on that stuff chronically.
Is it in that mitochondria that we make ATP, like adenosine triphosphate,
That's
that energy?
That's what you need. If you're feeling tired and sluggish throughout your day, right? For most people, it's afternoon stuff, right? That's a sure sign that your cell energy production in that mitochondria making ATP is down. The real answer to feeling energized is to improve ATP production. It's not to take a stimulant.
To drink a cup of coffee.
Yeah, so we got to change that, right? Again, the coffee's fine, but it's really not solving the problem. So we're going to talk about some stuff here that I brought that can solve the problem of low energy.
These are products that Life Extension makes, folks, and they're well researched. Dr. Smith, of course, is our senior health scientist. And before a label goes on, his brain goes into it. And what a brain. I've been able to have lunch and dinner with this guy. And he's deep. He's a medical doctor, right? But he doesn't see patients every day. He sees formulations every day. He takes great ideas from Russia and Africa and all over the continent. and he puts them together for new supplements. That's why this company, Life Extension, is at the forefront of new breakthroughs in nutrition. It's very exciting.
Well, and to be fair, we have a whole team that does this.
Yeah, it's not just you.
Yeah, it's not just me doing it.
I've met, what, 4 or 5 of the doctors over there.
Oh, yeah. So we have a whole research staff, right? And so some of them are medical doctors like myself. We have naturopathic doctors, research scientists. I really honestly believe, I don't think there's any other supplement company that has as many doctors and scientists as we do working for them.
Most important to us, guys, is that person that answers the phone. Well-trained nutrition people.
Yeah.
I mean, it's amazing.
We call them wellness specialists. Many of them are doctors themselves, and they'll talk to you about anything. And so when you ask about, okay, it's 3 o'clock and I'm starting to fall asleep, you know, they're going to talk to you about cell energy production, ATP. Did you know that loss of ATP production is considered one of the leading theories of why we age in the first place?
Really?
So it's not even about, so by doing what we're going to talk about, right, not only am I going to help you not get sleepy at 3 o'clock, we're also talking about real longevity benefits by improving ATP production.
In case I forget this, at the end of the next 5-minute segment or 6-minute segment, everything you see on this table today is authorized by Dr. Smith as 50% off for a limited time. But call them today and inquire about these. Don't go away. Dr. Smith and I will be right back with more. And welcome back, friends. Thank you for joining us today. During these breaks, when you see the commercials come on, thank you for honoring our sponsors, by the way. We get to talking. He can go so deep that I don't know exactly what he's saying, and yet Dr. Smith can make it so simple that you and I can understand it. I asked him about this bottle, PQQ.
PQQ, pyrroloquinoline.
See?
PQQ.
It's easy, we can all say that, but that's good stuff.
Yeah, so this was discovered in the 60s, researched in the 70s. We actually thought PQQ was going to be the next human vitamin. I'm not really sure why it never got to that level. It is found in food, so technically you can get it from food, but it's so low, most researchers like myself consider it an essential nutrient, meaning you really do got to supplement with it. Kiwi, by the way, has the most, or at least it's one of the fruits that has the most PQQ, but the amount is minuscule.
And I read it was in the seeds of the little kiwi or
See,
something.
I'm not even sure about that,
okay.
but but it's really, the number of kiwi you would have to eat, right? So why are we talking about PQQ? So it goes back to the idea of those powerhouses, the mitochondria. So again, by 50 to 60 to 70, you're losing your mitochondrial content. Your cells are struggling to make ATP. Cell energy, right? And it's one of the leading theories of why we eventually just die.
Yep.
So PQQ comes along and it can speak to the genes. Remember we talked about this before?
Yes, I do.
Nutrients that talk to genes, nutrigenomics, epigenetic effects, right? Well, that's what PQQ is. It goes in and it talks to the genes that make brand new powerhouses, mitochondria. So by taking PQQ, mitochondrial content increases. They did mouse studies on this, and really nice ones, where they looked at they took a biopsy of the mouse muscle, and you can stain for mitochondria. It's called a mitostain. And before PQQ, there was very little staining. Only 14 days later,
wow.
Only 14 days later, they did the same staining, gave the mouse PQQ, same staining, and it lit up like a Christmas tree. So significant increases in what we call mitochondrial biogenesis. And that's the first step. The first step to feeling more energized is you need new powerhouses. So that's PQQ.
That's this one.
That's that one.
This one I love.
Yeah, okay, so do I. Now, I don't take PQQ yet. I do AMPK, though.
Yeah.
So let's go back to the analogy of the powerhouse, right? So I just made a whole bunch of brand new ones for you, right? You took PQQ. If I was to stain your muscle cells, you'd light up like a Christmas tree, right? So you now have the infrastructure to make more ATP and feel more energized and not feel so sluggish at the end of the day, right? Yep. Good stuff. Well, you got to turn those powerhouses on. You have to turn on the assembly lines, right? The ability to take food and turn it into chemical ATP energy requires pathways to be activated inside the mitochondria. That's AMPK. It's an enzyme that helps to convert food stuff into chemical ATP energy. So it's kind of like turning on the mitochondria. It's kind of like the manager of the entire process. Things like overeating, and by the way, even though we eat a lot in this country, we're undernourished. Interesting, right?
Yeah.
Overfed,
Yep.
undernourished, age itself, inflammation, toxins, all of those things can really decrease the activity of AMPK. So really, even though the product says AMPK activator, it really is a reactivator of this enzyme. So when you take the nutrients in there, we have a nutrient called gynostenum is in there, and rose canina, where we get the dog rose from. There are compounds in those two plants that go inside the cell, reactivate AMPK, turn on that mitochondria, and you're going to make more ATP production. Awesome stuff. By activating that enzyme, you burn sugar better. You burn fat better. Right? You feel better. That's a powerful product. And then, of course, the last one is, it's not last, it's really one of the most important. It's CoQ10, right?
Oh,
You
sure.
take CoQ10 every day?
Oh, yeah.
I take it every day. I've been taking it every day for years. It just adds that fuel. It makes, so I got the new mitochondria. I've activated the new mitochondria. I just bring CoQ10 in, and it just solidifies the whole thing. It enhances the whole thing. That right there will decrease your need for coffee. If you take these three products, you'll drink coffee not because you need it, but because you want it. And that's a better thing.
Much better. And by the way, if you're on a statin drug, you must talk to your doctor about taking CoQ10 every day. Wow, what a brain you have. Thank you for blending it and sharing it with us today. By the way, 50% off today when you call in of any of these products. Thank you, Dr. Stone.
Thanks, Doug. I appreciate it.
Nurse Jenny Herbacek, Cancer Connection. Is there a connection between fluoride that we're exposed to all the time and bone cancer? And then thereafter, I'm going to talk a little bit about popular versus fad diets. Stay tuned. Watch this.
Hi, I'm Jenny Herbacek with the Cancer Connection. Fluoride is a carcinogen. It's in our tap water and much of the toothpaste that you see on the shelves in your local drugstore. Numerous studies have shown that fluoride can lower a child's IQ, interfere with our thyroid gland, and also with our mental functioning and cause cancer. In 2009, Harvard research showed that boys who drank fluorinated water between the ages of 5 and 10 have an increased risk of bone cancer. We can reduce our exposure by buying fluoride-free toothpaste. It's pretty easy to find at any health food store. We can also avoid it by using a reverse osmosis filtration system in our homes and with the water that we drink. In addition, fluoride can suppress the immune system. And the best protection against cancer is a strong immune system. For Know the Cause, I'm Jenny Herbacek.
I want to introduce you in this segment to a guy named Andy Saul. Andrew Saul is a PhD, very smart guy. I don't know him personally, but I love his comments. He had some good ones about doctors and diets and so forth, and this is about famous diets. I don't know most of them, but they're famous diets. If it isn't Kaufman diet, I don't know it. But according to health.com, the 5 best diets are the DASH diet, I have no idea, the MIND diet, of course that would be best, the TLC diet, Weight Watchers, those people on TV always lose 50 pounds and keep it off, and then the Mayo Clinic diet. How that got there, I have no idea, nor do I know what it is in their defense. Then they reference the 5 worst, health.com, as a raw food diet, which sounds pretty good to me. Atkins, I knew. Loved that guy, loved his diet. Dukan, I don't know what that is. Paleo, I know what it is. Paleo is one of the worst? Wow. Wow, I didn't know that. And the Whole30 diet. I have no idea what the Whole30 diet is. But as we continue here, fad diets, according to this doctor, a cardiologist and director of the Cardiovascular Prevention and Wellness Center at the National Jewish Hospital in Denver. He said about fad diets, and folks, you have to understand, as a cardiologist, I might be inclined to know it all also. But this doctor apparently knows it all. Here's what he says. There's a great amount of misinformation about nutrition fads, including antioxidant pills. They're called antioxidants. Juicing, which I happen to love, and gluten-free diet, which I question myself. But it's interesting how someone comes along and all of a sudden, out of all the chosen doctors, they are the pros. They're the only people who know about all these diets. And I'm sure no one sat down, a cardiologist might, because they're double my IQ. But who sat down and read all these diets? And the paleo diet, I understand the paleo diet well because it used to be called the caveman diet a long time ago, and it makes sense. We eat how we're built to eat, the meat and so forth, without the grains. Okay, so there's a great amount of misinformation about nutrition fads. He calls these fad diets fads, including antioxidant pills, which I take every day, juicing, which I do several times a week, and gluten-free diet, which I wouldn't follow. Then this guy, Andrew Saul, PhD. Healing is too big a topic for any one person to know it all. You have to start absorbing that, folks. And I think that's accurate. Where are we in cardiac care today? Why isn't this doctor studying cardiology instead of fad diets? You know, I'm preparing a presentation in San Diego at another cancer meeting, and here's what I'm finding. Oncologists are really good people, but they're really confused. This one doctor, I believe he's back east, said, I sit down with patients, I answer every question they have about cancer, and inevitably, one of them says, which diet will help me live longer? Which supplements do I take to help me maintain good immune health? And he says, I gotta take the fifth. I have no idea, I don't know. One of the reasons I'm giving this presentation to integrative oncologists out in San Diego is so that they have information on phytochemicals. There's synthetic chemicals, we call these drugs, the pharmaceutical industry. Then there's natural phyto or plant-based chemicals, okay? It's unreasonable that any one doctor knows it all. It's unreasonable. They don't. They're welcome to their opinion. This is America. You're welcome to your opinion. Then Andrew Saul says doctors frequently get it wrong. 1 out of 5 patients today is in the hospital because incorrect treatment by a doctor put him or her there. 20% of people have adverse events from a therapy or a drug. 20%. Chick-ching if you're a hospital. 20% of your people leave and then they're back. Chick-ching. Folks, we gotta stop the nonsense that goes on in medicine. One of the reasons I got up this morning and worked out so hard and just sweating was because I know at my age, 60, soon to be 68, the road forks. I can either start going to doctor after doctor after doctor, which is what old people tend to do, or I can go to health food store after gym after health food store after gym and see if I can prevent all of this. Okay, finally, Andrew Saul says this, good health makes a lot of sense, but it doesn't make a lot of dollars. I absolutely love this guy. I love what he's all about. I love what he's trying to teach us. Now he didn't reference that with this cardiologist. Those are just topics that he talks about. The bottom line is, look, when it comes to your good health, find someone, that might be a doctor, might be a nurse at church, might be a chiropractor down the hall from your condo. Find someone you can ask questions and trust. We can all reference the internet, but please don't think that any one person is the boss when it comes to nutrition. What is the boss? Your thumbprint. That differentiates you from every other person. So maybe the diet, maybe the supplements ought to be a little bit different too. And welcome back, friends. Thank you for joining us. Kyle Drew joins me right now. I do a live show once a week, sometimes twice a week on Facebook. If you really want to cut to the chase with me, if you have a question for me, go to that live show, join us. Even if you don't ask a question, listen to the questions people have. I do have fun. This isn't makeup or sport coats. This is live. Doug somewhere in Austin or somewhere doing a live show, and it's really caught on. Thank you for that, and thank you for being a part of that also, because you got the answers, Kyle. You are the supplement guy with a degree in chemistry. It's interesting you're not making synthetic drugs, but in fact studying supplements, and there's always new ones. Someone asked me the other night when you were here about potato starch, and I thought, potato starch? Why would someone squeeze a potato? Isn't that what you spray on shirts to starch them? And he knew what potato starch was, and funny. I didn't. What is potato starch?
It's all fun stuff, and that's the thing. People think that it's the pharmaceutical drugs that are the powerful things.
Right.
I got to tell you, I'm not as impressed as I am with food, herbals, and natural products.
And you sold drugs for years.
Yeah, I sold chemo and all the rest.
Okay, so the questions go like this. We've tried so many things for our nonverbal autistic son. And he is so anxious, he can't participate in things. Oh man, I hate to hear this. He can get violent. I just hate for him to be so anxious. I don't know anymore what to do. He's been on the phase 1 for over 5 years. Thanks, Doug. Says Kim.
Kim, I sent a family with a son who was living in a facility. And he autistic son living in a facility, couldn't live at home, was starting to get, it was dangerous. But I sent them down to Dr. Lynn Jennings.
And what you need to know is a fungus-friendly doctor. Those are the words that you need, not Dr. Lynn. If you can get to Dr. Lynn Jennings, that'd be great, but a fungus-friendly physician. And she put the son on nystatin first. Now that's just a gut antifungal, okay? Primarily, not so much systemic. And the next time I saw this family, it was about 6 to 10 months later, and the mom ran up to me and said, I want you to come meet my son. He's living with us again. Wow. It was an incredible story, but it speaks to the idea that you can't give up, and I know you're not giving up. I know that sometimes you feel like giving up because you're banging your head against the wall and you're not seeing any change. But if we can get you in front of a fungus-friendly doctor and possibly go nystatin and who knows what else, continue with the phase 1 diet, maybe, just maybe, we can start to see some progress.
Look, Billy Crook published on depression being linked to fungus. Nystatin is an antifungal. Next question, Doug, I have 2 areas biopsied melanoma, but they are contained in the skin. I'm scheduled to have them excised tomorrow morning. I'm on the Kaufman diet. Do you think melanoma is connected with mycotoxins? No, I'm pretty convinced that cancer is in general. Here's the cool thing. This is contained in the skin. So they'll probably do what they call a Mohs procedure. I remember scrubbing for those. Wow. But they'll probably cut margins around the melanoma just to make sure they got it all. But then what you want to do is go back and say, okay, how do I prevent this from ever coming back? I think lifestyle, check your home. Something may be dropping on your skin. Check your home, make sure it's mycotoxin fungus free, and see if that doesn't help. Real quickly, do we have one more? Please tell me what I can take for reflux and heartburn. I don't know what to take for reflux, but I'm suffering. I don't have any other issues but GERD. Don't you hear this? Marcia has this problem.
Yeah, we have to get the diet right. Otherwise, it's just acidic and all the rest. I don't like those acid blockers at all.
Antacids.
That's just me, because stomach acid is there for a reason. You're supposed to have that. Okay, so something's amiss here. So get the diet right. Supplemental. I like apple cider vinegar for this, you know? I like some apple cider vinegar, maybe put it in some water, a little cinnamon, a little stevia to make it go down. It actually tastes really good when you do that, but it really helps to calm things down, along with L-glutamine. L-glutamine is just, maybe that should be the frontline recommendation. So L-glutamine, apple cider vinegar. You got to have probiotics. You got to have probiotics.
Hydrochloric acid sometimes.
But hydrochloric acid when you're eating your food. Don't take it on an empty stomach because it burns. Okay. It's acid. But make sure and take it with your meal to help break down that food. I think that's a good combination.
Yeah, great questions on live. You can hear me live every week now. Kyle, thank you for being here. You bet. Isn't that pretty? There are the products that Dr. Mike Smith, who is a senior health scientist with Life Extension, talked about today. By the way, have you ever walked into a health food store and say, I wish I could try that for a month to see if it helped me? 50% off of each and every one of these products that we talked about on today's show. And by the way, hot off the press, look at that, still in its sealed envelope is my magazine. If you become a customer of Life Extension today, this is yours free. Look at the headline, shamefully high drug prices. Look at this one, moisturize your skin from within. I mean, this is a great company. Thank you so much to Life Extension for your valuable support of Know the Cause. What did you think about Kyle and I? Autism, heartburn, etc. How about Nurse Jenny Herbacek? Fluoride. Who'd have thought? You know, folks, we really need to unravel the complexities of science on this show. What if it were really simple, but we make it really complex? And then popular versus fad diets. What do you think? Are there diets that are here today and gone a year from today? You bet there are, folks. As we learn more and more about the power of plants to help heal us, there will be many fad diets. Thank you so much for joining us today. God bless you. You want to see it again? Go to YouTube and knowthecause.com.